G'day, Chris Walker here. Today I'd like to talk to you about Walker G Part 4, which is about give, gratitude, inspiration, vision and enthusiasm. We've spoken in the past with Walker G about body, mind, spirit and you. You've acknowledged, I hope, that there are 7 areas of life, and to have an alignment between body, mind, spirit and you is really important. Otherwise you become fragmented and nervous. We've known that gratitude is the essential commodity for the body, for health. We've acknowledged that inspiration is the essential ingredient to cause the mind to be healthy and focused. We've recognized that vision is very important for the spirit. But today's new information that I'd like to introduce you to is the concept of enthusiasm. So we have the acronym GIVE, gratitude, inspiration, vision and enthusiasm, which I think is quite an enjoyable definition of a great way to live. Let's talk about it. Let's begin with gratitude. Body gratitude means that you're thankful for what's going on around you. Now, you'll be surprised at how your physical appetite changes, how your body relaxes. You'll be surprised at how your metabolism increases. You'll be surprised at how your weight management changes. You'll be surprised at how your skin tone changes. You'll be shocked, in a sense, at how much thankfulness has for your body. Now, the opposite to thankfulness is the opposite to gratitude is unhappiness. So please be mindful that the opposite to gratitude isn't ingratitude. The opposite to gratitude is unhappiness. And so when we physicalize the idea of gratitude into the body, what we're saying is, I'm thankful for everything that's happened to me up to date. And your body is therefore not carrying charges, either excess or deficiency of chemistry. We then have spoken at length about the mind inspiration. Inspiration trains the mind to focus on priorities. And this is, we've mentioned before, an ever-evolving demand on the mind to stay inspired, to stay connected to stay engaged in whatever we do. And we can't be in a victim or a blame mode and blame what we do for how we feel. Our mind will do what we tell it to. So if you say be engaged, be committed, be connected, be focused, it will focus as long as you tell it to do that. Don't ask for entertainment to cause your mind to be engaged, because that'll make you, in a sense, vulnerable to all the comings and goings of people around you. The next level is where we've talked about spirit vision. And the human spirit is the future. And although being in the now, in inspiration, in presence is very important to the mind, to the spirit, having some sense of adventure, having some sense of future is where the human spirit really comes alive. And we need to keep this adapting. We need to work through challenges that come to, let's say, knock our enthusiasm and block our spirit, in a sense. So in a Native American tradition, they talk about the spirit being of the eagle. And the eagle is very similar to the idea of having a big vision, a big viewpoint, an overview. We talk about the helicopter view. This is the big vision perspective. And when your vision shrinks to being worried about what people think or what people are doing or where people are going or whether you're right, or, which is called the royal I-ness, we shrink and the vision gets lost. So it's work to maintain the spirit, to maintain vision. And enthusiasm. Enthusiasm is where you package love for life. You say, I'm not going to be I'm not going to be a victim or vulnerable to what's going on around me. I will remain enthusiastic, which means you're in love with life, not a person. Now, a lot of people make a mistake. They wait to meet somebody to fall in love, but it's far wiser to be in love with life than to be in love with a person, and then add a person to your love for life. So a person who loves life is balanced in all 7 areas of life, and therefore they have a distributed love life, if you want to call it that. And we've talked about the 7 areas of life. So being a person who's in love with finances, who's in love with the social life, who's in love with health, who's in love with family, who has love in their mental engagement and has love in their career, is a very inspired person and is a very spiritual person. So it's not about being spiritual. It's about being in love with life and all the 7 areas of life, and not having 1 or 2 areas that you completely discard and say, I hate that part of my life. So a person who loves their life is enthusiastic automatically. We've talked about the 7 levels of life. We know that a got to mindset is not in love with life, and a love to or a choose to or a desire to mindset is in love with life. We know that if we operate at the lower levels, we burn a lot of energy, and that is called highly emotional. We become bipolar, as it's called. We know that, as in the growth rings of a tree, we evolve, and then we evolve again, and we evolve from got to love to, got to love to, and this never stops. And when you're green, you're growing. When you're ripe, you're rot. And so this is very important to remember when you're thinking, oh, I've got a new job, or I've got a new life and or a relationship, that it will evolve to love to. And as soon as you just get comfortable in a love to space, something new will come along to challenge you and make you incompetent, and you have to work through it. So life's a process. And we've demonstrated that in this diagram. It's the same thing. It's just the ring arcs of a tree, and we call this the frustra diagram. We've mentioned before not to blow your own trumpet, because if you blow your trumpet, someone's going to put you down. We've seen that emotion can take you to being bipolar. And when we talk about gratitude, inspiration, vision, and enthusiasm, what we're trying to do is cause ourselves to be in a healthy zone, centered and balanced. We've talked about relationships and how relationships grow and continually grow at the border of chaos and order, and the Vesica Pisces, which is this diagram, reflects that. It's like got to love to is like climbing Everest every day. And we've mentioned that it's really wise to have a process that helps you work from the body up through the mind, up through the spirit, to be yourself each day. And that's called the Power Hour, the Walker Power Hour. It covers 7 areas of life. It keeps you balanced in all 7 areas of life. And it ultimately determines the vibration or the energy of your thought process. A person who's inspired is in the grey line right through the middle. A person who's emotional will be vacillating high and low throughout their working day. They'll have highs and lows. They'll take sugar, they'll take coffee to try to get it upper, and then of course what they don't recognize is there's a corresponding downer. So we're trying to get this vibration, so to speak, as high up the cone as possible, and therefore avoid wasting a lot of energy. So let's go back over it again. Gratitude, inspiration, vision, and enthusiasm. And what we're trying to do with this is to align the body, the mind, the spirit with our life. And we do that by making sure that the gratitude aligns the gratitude for social life, for example, aligns the body with the mind, which is inspired about social life, with the vision of social life, and that ultimately becomes our interaction or our face to the world. And we align these different areas of life so that we have goals, and we have habits, and we have daily habits that keep us in a healthy, growing space in all the 7 areas of life. Which leaves us one more, which is, if the other six are sorted out, we become a spiritually inspired person. So enthusiasm. Let's talk about enthusiorgasm, as I call it, or enthusiasm. Enthusiasm is centered around the understanding that you're continually growing. And we continually grow by using the discard, cellular, environment, mind, vision, self-talk, results process, the back on track. And this is called the daily power hour. Begins in the morning, before people wake up, before the world is awake, before the sunrise, before your mind is engaged in the noise of the day. And it's a connection. And then we reconnect throughout the day to tap back into the original connection that we made in the morning. So enthusiasm. There's no I in enthusiasm. That's why I took enthusiasm and made it enthusiasm, because there's no I in it anymore. And one of the key things about enthusiasm is to make sure your enthusiasm is not about yourself. It's enthusiasm for others, for others' satisfaction. Make sure that your enthusiasm is not for yourself. If you do that, it'll actually implode on you and go backwards. Be enthusiastic about others. Be enthusiastic about other people's success, other people's happiness, other people. And that doesn't mean being good to people all the time. Sometimes you have to be tough love because they're in the wrong job or the wrong situation. Sometimes you just have to be blunt and honest. But at the end of the day, make your motive about other people's satisfaction. Do what you love and love what you do means do what you love for others, love what you do for others, and be paid a lot of money for it. Gratitude, inspiration, vision, and enthusiasm. Give. All of this is based on the laws of nature and how it, and we've derived this whole process we've discussed today from the universal laws of nature, which I've shared in a previous video. Ultimately, we're building inner wealth to match with outer wealth. We're trying to keep up the internal work so that we meet the world at a healthy place, and remember that so that we remember we're no better or worse than anybody else on the planet. That we come to the world, we are where we are, and our outer world and our inner world link. This is Chris Walker. Have a beautiful day.